Good morning and welcome to GKBA Today, where we always speak with one of our esteemed members. As always, we want to thank Miami Community News for this platform. And today we have, always esteemed, of course, our members. We have Dr. Bryan Stewart from Miami-Dade Kendall campus. How are you, Bryan?
Great, Carlos. Great to be here with you today.
Thanks for being here. I want to ask you, before we talk about Kendall campus, I want to talk a little bit about your past. And I heard you were a four-year letterman at Tarleton College, and that you were a hoop guy through and through.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I want to give you some kudos of all you do in the community. You're very visible, and it's been great to work with you. But yeah, I grew up and born and raised in Texas, and went to a school called Tarleton State University, and played college basketball there. Majored in math, which are two kind of diverse things. But it was a great opportunity. You know, playing college basketball kept me organized and kind of kept me out of trouble. And it was just a great experience. And I still play a little basketball when I can. Love to run up and down the court. And it's just, to me, it's a great sport. I love sports in general, but basketball's kind of at the core of my DNA.
So I heard you even threaten your team at Miami-Dade to get on the court with them one day.
I have. Matter of fact, I had a recruit in my office yesterday. I like to meet all of our recruits coming in, and we were talking about shooting three-pointers and having a little competition. And I've practiced with the teams before last season, and I hope to practice with them again and be out there with them. And I could still play a little basketball.
That's awesome. So I also heard that at one point in your life that you wanted to coach basketball.
Wow, you got some good sources there. Yeah, growing up, I wanted to be a basketball coach, and my dad was a university president, so the academic has kind of been my DNA. And I remember signing my scholarship at Tarleton, and you had to put your major down in those days. And I wanted to put basketball coach, and my dad said, "No, you're not going to be a basketball coach," because obviously he knew me better than I knew myself, and so I wrote down math, and that's how I became a math major. But I loved coaching. I've coached my kids in select sports and won several national championships in different sports, and so sports is kind of what's kept me grounded. But I love the higher education decision that I made way back in the day.
Excellent. I want to know about, how long have you been in Miami?
7 years.
7 years.
Almost 7 years.
So I like to ask everybody who's a transplant, what was your welcome to Miami moment?
Oh my goodness, Carlos, what a great question. I came to this state. My wife stayed in Texas because of a family issue, and she got a promotion. I knew no one in this city and this state. It was a really big adjustment. Just the traffic on 95 was just unbelievable. But just all the different diversity, and in Texas we have diversity, but not like Miami. And it was a huge adjustment. I lived in Brickell at the time.
Okay.
So going from a suburban city in Texas to Brickell was, man, it was a shock. The traffic there, but the people at Miami-Dade College embraced me, and it was such a family at the medical campus at the time. That's what kind of helped me survive. It would have been really difficult if I had not gone to an institution like MDC that was so embracing, but it was tough. I remember sitting in my pool after work, talking to my wife at my apartment, on the phone, talking to people, just how different an environment it was. The food's different here, great food here, but still a lot different than what we have in Texas.
Yeah. So have you been to Apocalypse Barbecue yet?
I have not. I've so many times going to go, and I haven't made it yet, but that is the one place that is on my list to go to.
Okay. So I hear you're pretty much a great barbecuer.
I am. Matter of fact, this Monday we're doing a barbecue for the whole campus that helped in graduation last weekend, and sort of kind of my pat on the back for all they did. But yeah, I love to get behind the grill. That's one of my favorite things to do.
I want to talk to you about a little bit about your time at the medical campus. And from what I know, you're an innovator through and through. I know that over there during your tenure that you established the learning, hold on, let me see if I remember the name of it. The Learning, Innovation, and Simulation Center.
Yeah. So when I got to the medical campus, it was sort of in a little bit of a downside. Nursing was not as popular. We had some hiring issues. We didn't have our relationships with our area hospitals quite like we did, but we were building a new simulation hospital in a new building. And I got the opportunity to kind of finish that project. It was sort of a shell when I got there, but we got to order equipment and bring in mannequins and high-tech technology and so forth. So it really, what I think, brought the medical campus to the 21st century.
And what is it exactly? What was it?
So it's a simulation hospital. You walk into the facility and you have a front desk where there are nurses and simulated people. And then we have 17 different rooms that have mannequins that simulates a hospital room with charts and computers on the wall and all the equipment. We have the mannequins are anywhere from 60 to 80,000 each, and they can have heart attacks.
Wow.
They can even pass away and die, which is really good for our students in terms of letting them experience that in a clinical, before they get in the clinical setting and with the patient. So we can do anything. We've had some pretty significant events filmed with Jackson Hospital and other things, but it's got you can deliver a baby there. It's got an ambulance in there where our paramedics can do their work. We've got an apartment that you can simulate all sorts of things. It's an incredible facility that really took our students to the next level in terms of training and getting ready for the workforce.
That's unreal. So you're learning on the job without actually being on the job.
Exactly right. Yeah.
That's
And I have to add, during the pandemic, when a lot of our other schools couldn't get in rotations and clinical sites, we had that simulation hospital to keep our students progressing toward degrees. And it was a life-saving of building to have during the pandemic.
So what was the transition like going from that campus, no sports team, right?
Right.
No sports, and then going to Kendall?
Well, first of all, it was really hard to leave the medical campus because, like you asked earlier, when I came, that was my family. That's the only people I knew, and I developed a lot of close relationships there. I even took the EMT program, and I'm a nationally certified EMT. So it was a really difficult transition. But as I mentioned earlier, my degrees are in math, and what I had done in Texas had worked my way up the academic structure. So being with academics at the Kendall campus was just like a breath of fresh air. I love the medical world and all we accomplished there, but I've forgotten how much I love dealing with academic faculty and all the things related to Kendall campus. And then the athletic program was just like the cherry on the top. Having, kind of your original question about wanting to be a coach, and now having the athletic programs there has just been unbelievably a positive experience for me.
And what sports do you have right now?
So we have 7 sports. We've had 5 until this last year. We added men's and women's soccer. We have men's and women's basketball. We have a women's volleyball team, softball, and a baseball team. And I have to brag a little.
Go ahead.
This is the first time in the history of the college that we had 7 teams that all of our teams had qualified for postseason play.
Wow.
In 2009, 5 of our teams qualified, but we didn't have 7 teams. So I'm really proud of what we've done this year. Our baseball and softball teams next week are going to state, and our boys team, soccer team, and our volleyball team went to nationals this year. And so it's just been a stellar year for athletics at Miami-Dade College.
And now you have, I believe, soccer under the lights, right?
We do. We built a really unique stadium. We have FIFA coming in May to train all their officials for the World Cup. And we didn't get to play but one game in our new stadium, but in the fall, we'll be back in that stadium with a really cool scoreboard and all sorts of great features that we'll have you out and the group out to do a little event soon, I hope.
Excellent. Thinking about math, because, it's funny because you said math and basketball don't necessarily mix, but now it's all about analytics. And I want to ask you, how has math, if it has, helped you throughout your career?
Well, math, to me, math created a discipline, a logic, and the way I look at things is very, I think, mathematical and logical. I like to understand the problem and get input, and I just think I look at it from a very mathematical perspective. A lot of the math courses I had, topology, advanced analysis, I had some really advanced statistics, some really high-level math courses that I don't really use, but the way I learn those disciplines, I think, helps me in my everyday job, because there are some tough days in the graduate math classroom learning some of those. But I really think math gives me a frame of reference to make decisions, to help, and a lot of times Matter of fact, I'm teaching a class next fall. I'm going to teach our honors.
I was just going to
college
ask you
students.
if you ever taught math.
I have. When I was in Texas, every semester or two, I would teach. And I've tried 3 times to teach here at Miami-Dade, and various things happen. But I'm teaching our honors college students at 7 a.m. in the fall, college algebra. And so I'll have about 40 of them in a classroom. I'm really excited. But one of the things I always get in a math classroom is, why do I need to learn this? And
Yeah.
you know, I think there's a lot of things, and I do tell my students why we're learning it every time I can, and almost every time I can. But I think what you learn intellectually in understanding math helps you in other disciplines, and that's kind of what's hard to demonstrate to students sometimes, how valuable that can be.
Right. So you get, when am I ever going to use calculus?
Exactly. But I can give you examples. So
Speaking of innovation, you have now the Business Innovation and Technology Center at the Kendall campus. Thanks for the invite for the inauguration. It's just fantastic.
yeah, it's a great space. We partnered with Bloomberg, and so our students get to experience, things on the New York Stock Exchange, and we have some really dynamic faculty. I believe we have the largest business enrollment of any of our campuses, and it's going to really take off. We're adding some certificates to the program, and the way for your audience works is students can get certificates that are stackable that count toward their 2-year or 4-year degree. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so there's some really positive things we can do to help students get certified and help them get jobs immediately, and then continue on with their education. And a lot of times, and we found this in healthcare and same at Kendall, that if we get students jobs, a lot of those companies will then pay for the rest of those degrees. And so it's a win-win for the business as well as for the college and for the student.
It's incredible how far your net goes, because the other day at home I received like a newspaper type thing, and it talked about the courses, and one of them was AI for teens, and I thought that was so cool, amazing.
Yeah, we've really jumped in the AI world. Kudos to our college president, Madeline Pumariega, who a year plus ago was kind of reading the tea leaves and did some really cool programs to get our upper administration and then down the chain comfortable with AI. And so, we didn't ignore it as a college, we embraced it. And so you see kind of some of these ideas coming out. The one you're mentioning is through our continuing education program,
Right,
which is on my campus. The dean is on my campus, and they do some really cool programs. And that's one of the unique was we've also done some things from the academic side where we're building an AI center that you'll get an invitation.
Okay.
That'll blow you away when we finish it. We have a huge engineering and technology program at Kendall, and the AI will fit really great with that program.
Yeah. And I also know, because I had Eli on previously, about a scholarship program for adults and learning AI.
Yeah, we have a number of scholarships. One of the great things I love to say about Miami-Dade College that our college president says is 98% of our students graduate debt-free. And you think about that. You read in the paper, and with everything going on with student loans and those things, our students, 98% of them don't have any college debt. And a lot of that is due to the scholarships we have. We have an incredible foundation led by Nelson and Capier, and we have lots of ways to help students pay for their education. And we've got a number of AI scholarships to your question that we've just brought on board. But we really want to try to match students with scholarships so they don't have to take out loans and that kind of thing.
So speaking of debt free, I know you have a program. I forgot what it's called, the Career Closet. And what's that all about?
Yeah, one of the things my predecessor started, he actually started at the Hialeah campus and brought it to the Kendall campus, was a career closet. And we partner with Commissioner Regalado and others that have helped support it. And we certainly are open to anybody that wants to contribute to that. And what we do is we give brand new clothes to students. They're not used. We purchase them. You come in, and if we don't have your size, we get it. And men can get shirts and suits and ties and dress shoes for interviews. Women can get clothes that they need for interviews. And it's really a unique opportunity to help our students interview for jobs and take them to that next step. At the medical campus, many of our students interviewed in scrubs and those kind of things because that's their uniform. But our students at Kendall need to look like we do in interviews, and sometimes even with ties and so forth. And so it's an initiative that we started from the previous campus president that's just been so great. And we want to continue to develop it, and we continue to get support from the community, and students get to go into the room and pick out what they want to wear. It's not like we say you got to dress in a blue coat. They
Right.
get to pick their uniform, so to speak, that they interview in.
What other programs do you have for students free of charge like that?
We're very proud of our food pantry. Food disparities are a big thing on a campus. We have a number of partnerships with people that have support our food pantry, and students who come in and get hot food, things they can cook there. So we're proud of that. We have a lot of tutoring programs.
Okay.
Almost every one of our academic programs has a lab to support students. If you're in accounting, we can support you with an accounting lab. Math, we obviously have a math lab. Science and so forth. Reading, writing labs. That's one of the things I think that's great about Miami-Dade College is that if you're a student who needs support, there's going to be a place on campus to help you, support you. We also have dollars to help students that come in critical situations, like maybe they have a car that doesn't work, and so we have emergency funds too that can help students. So we really try to look at the student as a holistic individual, and whatever we can do to get them to the finish line, that's our goal.
Is there housing on campus right now?
Not yet.
Okay.
We've had some discussions about adding dorms for athletes and maybe some of our honor students, but we haven't really gone past the discussion stage. We do have space at the Kendall campus, and it would make sense that would be one of the campuses we would do it on, but we haven't done that yet. One of my goals is to look at that in the near future, hopefully.
What percentage of students are local versus out of even just the area, maybe just somewhere else in Florida or another state?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a huge dual enrollment program
Okay.
at the college. I was really popular in Texas, and I did some things there in Texas, but Miami has a little different slant on it. We have 3,600 students in our dual enrollment program in the fall, and
Wow.
3,300 in the spring, 3,400. And we have a number that'll continue on. I believe the Kendall campus has close to 35 high schools that feed to us. So a lot of our students are those students that are, I would say, under 21, the high school student age. But then we have a lot of returning adults. We have a lot of students that drive long distances to come to the Kendall campus because of where we're located. We are the largest producing students of nursing students for our medical campus. They come to Kendall because of our science programs and some of that. But we really have we're pretty broad spectrum of students that come to us.
How many campuses are there right now?
There are 7 on-ground campuses and then our online campus.
Okay. Which is the largest in terms of students?
The Kendall campus is the largest. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's always been.
It has, yeah. Our online campus and our North campus are right on our heels.
Right.
But we average about 60,000 students a year. We had 21 last fall, 20 this spring, and we're enrolling for our first summer term. And I think we'll have about 10 in each, so we'll be about 60,000 again. Both semesters, we've been double figures in growth. So we are growing, as is our college, as is our other campuses are growing as well.
Where do you put all the students? If you're growing at that pace.
Yeah, well, when we had the pandemic, we created what was called MDC Live,
Okay.
which is a way to teach our students off campus and asynchronously. We found that a lot of our students want to come face to face. So many of our students are coming back, but we do offer different modalities for students. We offer the face to face, we offer the blended, we offer the online, and then the MDC Live. So student has the versatility to pick a class that, the modality that they think they learn best in. Obviously math and maybe some sciences are better hands-on than maybe
Right.
some of the other disciplines. But we've tried to, and that's the thing about higher education that I think Miami-Dade does great. You can't do the same thing you did 10 or 20 years ago. You
Right.
have to be innovative. And I think that's one of our strengths at the college is innovation.
So that's the perfect segue. What's next for Miami-Dade College?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're developing an AI center. We're developing 4 classrooms that are going to be very high tech. We also are looking at developing a STEM building in the near future. With STEM, that'll kind of connect our campus to the engineering, tech, and science world. Those are the big things coming. One of the big programs I'd like to spend a second talking about is our Kendall Academy. It's in its 3rd innovation this summer iteration. And it helps neurodiverse students. And so we took about 18 or 20 students every year and take them through and they get a certificate. This last year, they got an AI certificate. And so these are kids that, you know, have struggled in high school and have challenges that we take a court and hand carry them through the
And that
process.
they start like if they were starting college at 18.
Yeah, right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the new cohort starts in June that we're identifying right now, and we'll take them all the way through graduation. We graduated last Saturday, and those students were among the first ones to come across the stage.
Wow.
And I'd spent some time with them in their class and to hug them and give them a high five. It was kind of an emotional moment to see these kids that
Absolutely.
now, and they're working in jobs. They're not working at you know, check out, those kind of jobs.
Right.
They're working in jobs that can be their career for forever, you know.
Amazing.
Not that those aren't careers. I don't mean to.
No, I get it. I get it.
But we're trying to give them a skill that makes them unique in the workforce.
Perfect. So we're out of time. I know the time goes very
It
fast.
does.
So the last thing we're going to do, and I forewarned you, is we're going to check your sock game. I'm going to check mine. So Lorenzo, please pan in. We're going to do a poll on LinkedIn later on to see who has the better sock game. Can you see us both there?
Turn yours
This way. All right.
If I show calf, do I win more?
All right. Thanks so much.
It's been a pleasure, Carlos.
My pleasure.
All right.
And we'll catch you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.